good morning. It's a very long time, I think, since we've done a Sunday morning Zwift race, but here we are. There's no Alpe Zwift today. I put it in the title because sometime early this coming week I will be going and trying to attempt to beat my personal best of Alpe Zwift, which is 34:20. Good morning, morning all, good morning. Yeah, interesting. I mean, a stacked race would obviously get a fast time. Just like, fun fact, the Zwift Games was the second fastest all-time ascent for me. Only 40 seconds slower than my PR. And that was when I weighed a little bit more. And, I didn't really get a draft benefit in that event because I got tailed off at the start. So the plan for the Alpe Zwift PR attempt is to set it up very much similar to when I did it way back a few years ago, when it was part of an event, but this time I'm going to be doing it just as a free ride, and I'm going to have just a couple of volunteers in front for the first couple of kilometers on the Alp, just to set the pace at about 6 watts per kilo, and then from there we'll probably ride a solo paced effort, whether or not that means people are still there pacing or not, but it's open to anybody. I'm gonna make it a case of you could just spawn before we start around me, and then we can all ride down there and do it. No meet up, no, nothing like that, nothing organised, just a free ride down there and either Tuesday or Wednesday evening, Tom. Anybody should come and try, because, you know, a PB is a PB. Yeah, no, I mean, I doubt very much that they would want to, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just thinking that way, but I doubt very much they'd want to ride to pace me and then just peel off. Like, I think they would rather, like, race it. So I only want people who are, like, willing to be honest, like, just pace, essentially. Like, no need to do anything else. And I think too many people though, and it skews it too much, and then I'm getting, like, too much. I want to keep it as similar to the PB attempt as possible last time, otherwise it just becomes, I'll be going, you know, it won't be fair, although I know the game's been updated since then, so what is fair, but what do you mean it's not that far away? Obviously. Well, I asked a while ago, like, well, not asked, but I just mentioned it, and yeah, ideally I don't want people thinking that I'm cherry picking riders to pace. But James, I think the email to you has gone to junk. Oh, hang on, we got our first climb here. Hang on a minute. Oh, that was, yeah, you're racing in the Austria, weren't you, yesterday? I was thinking about doing it, but obviously I was, in the morning I was helping out a local triathlon club, doing some skills coaching for their relatively new cyclists. And we ended up riding for like 2.5 hours or so. I was going to do it in the afternoon, evening, but to be honest, I wanna have some of my evenings back. Now we watched a film actually. We watched a Tom Cruise film with Emily Blunt called Edge of Tomorrow. If you've ever seen it. That's why I always enter like 2 events that are really close to each other. No, I'm joking. I only do that because I genuinely don't know which one to choose. I second that, Tander. Yeah, it was, to be honest, Will, I didn't know what to make of the trailer, and then we haven't had a movie night in for a while, and we can never choose films, by the way. Like, you know, we're scrolling through and we're like, what are we going to watch? It just takes us forever to choose something. Let me know if you're like that as well. Even the stuff on the wish list, watch list rather. It was a good film though, it was a good film. Today was a bit of a last minute decision whether I do this or the event that was on at 8:40, so 20 minutes later, but on the Bigfoot Hills course. And I really like Bigfoot Hills, but I don't know, this one, the Utopia figure 8, is very nice. Oh, Jesse, I'm not doing the PR attempt today. I did mention at the very start that, no, I'm doing it either Tuesday or Wednesday. So you can't get out of it now. I'm joking. Jessica. The title's not misleading, that's what we're actually talking about. Like, I'll just do a PR attempt plus we're talking figure 8 race. I'm talking about it. I can't do clickbait, I'm terrible at it. I have no idea how to. If I'm clickbaiting reviews, it's not working. Oh. Yeah, sorry, Jesse. So yeah, the race is going to be Tuesday or Wednesday evening. Not race, sorry. It's not a race, it's a free ride. What's my supplement plan for the PR attempt? Caffeine. Caffeine and low fiber diet and carbs. The only supplements to take, essentially, caffeine and omega and vitamins. Now Jesse's got other things on the brain. Chasing race. No, I haven't had a bar 50 in ages, actually. Because when I'm out on the bike now, I'm just on gels and drinks, really. Those 50-gram gels, I just prefer shoving them down. Raining again, Paul. It rained here yesterday. It was 2 degrees. I went for a ride at 9 AM. It was 2 degrees in Wales. What was going on? Get the scarves back out. The Spanish rider was just attacked solo. It's very strong by the looks of the Zwift power. 40 kilometers to go. Gone solo. Hey Josh. Hello viewers, if you're just tuning in. We have one lone leader breakaway with massive raw power, thank you Jesse, 395 watts at 6 watts per kilo. But but I think, to be honest, I think he's going to win. I mean, there's such a big enough gap now, and nobody's reacted to it. What a question to ask just before KOM, Sander. Well, welcome, Gary. Hope the under 7s game's going well. Right, Steph. Come on. Come on in, group. We can ride together. Heck of a lot easier for us, remember, than one rider solo, or two riders that are solo, but they're not together yet. We can race when we get closer to the end. And we'll keep riding for now. Come on, group, what are you doing? Why is there a gap? Yeah, I understand that, but if I'm not attacking, if I'm like, I'm assuming these would be good B riders. Like, That's all I want them to do is hold the wheel. 38 minutes in, unless I'm expecting too much, but by the way, the only reason why I'm using the look behind camera is just to make sure we're still together. I do realise that what I'm typing is also getting sent to the people in the breakaway as well. I've just been told off. $30k to go. See ya, thanks for joining. Not a bad question at all, Greg. They feel harder. And it also depends if you're in good shape or not, remember? Obviously I can't answer the question properly right now, but resting heart rate about 48, 47. Don't look at my heart rate. Heart rate's irrelevant, everyone. Like, especially if you're comparing what you know to someone, then when you see a low heart rate, it's one of my biggest bugbears. When people look at Lionel Sanders and see him doing like 500 watts at 125 beats a minute, ignore it. Oh, I am. No. You would know, Ben. Yeah, well, the answer to that then is that they're all useful in their own way. You never focus on one directly. You take a bit from all of them. Looking forward to hopefully we can keep working at this now, and then in the last like 10k we'll start racing again. I mean, that's what you do on the road. Like, you wouldn't just sit up and let the race go. You just have to get working as best as possible. It's good because we've maintained the gap now and we're sharing the effort. Speaking of effort, I don't know if you saw my Strava from Thursday night, my local time trial. Spent so much time at 400 watts. My legs. I had diamonds in the legs. I would say it usually takes me a while to get in the groove of doing an effort outdoors, but the Zwift time trials and a couple of Alpe Zwifts and Ventop really paid off, actually. It's nice to see it translate over. And then hopefully we can stay together here. Whoa, time gaps exploded to first. Huge effort going up here from him. Wasn't quite doing fast enough for the super tuck. About 6.4, 6.5 I think. Didn't weigh myself on the day, or on the morning rather, or even before it. It's in the ballpark of what I did on Sacalobra. On Sacalobra, but a week and a half before Sacalobra KOM, I did a 390 10 mile time trial, 390 watts. But then in Sacalobra, because it was early in the morning I think, and I was really, I don't know, I think I didn't have as good a performance as I did on my own time trial roads. So my goal this time is to see if I can actually perform as well as I did on Thursday evening. I think I left about 13 watts on the table. No, I don't think Pidcock's got anything to worry about at all. He probably doesn't even know who I am. It will not faze him. But I went and did it at 8 AM last time, so it was really good conditions. Nah, Tom's speed up there is just nuts. Like, we're doing like very similar watts per kilo, but he just goes like a minute 50 faster. But he was putting out more power slightly, and he weighs slightly less, so that would obviously help. But the minute 50 seconds is just such a big gap for that power output. My attack there, basically what happened to Pidcock and Van der Poel in the classic the other day, where Pidcock attacked on the climb, Van der Poel stayed with the group, and then yeah, they both got back on at the same time. I'll tell you one thing though, it's the reception, the messages and things that I've had from people has been really supportive. Because at the end of the day, everybody goes there to test themselves, and just because someone's gone like second fastest and Pidcock is just another level doesn't mean you can't go. But like, I'm not going to say like, oh, I'm never going to go back because that's as good as it gets type of thing. Okay, here we go then. can't remember which pro did it. This is going back a while now. But they drew the sword. It's like going back like 20 years, I think. It was like, whoosh, as he crossed the line. Oh, that was great. I have to admit, that was really good fun. Really good to have, like, seeing the breakaway go with a dangerous rider, and then sort of working together. One rider went across halfway, and then working together a little bit, and just, I think that cohesion really made the race. If I think we just looked at each other and didn't work together, or if we just started attacking each other, I think that would have been the end of it, and we would never have seen the front of the race again. But look at the time gaps. I mean, you know, the group that we were in doing that, you know, the cohesion, they weren't they actually still got within 15 seconds of the Spanish rider who was in first place for a long time. So yeah, I mean, arguably could have stayed with that group maybe. If we'd have kept working, we might still have caught first place. But I think playing to the strength of going on the hill on the second half, I think it was just one of those situations again where if I was going to bridge, then I'd have to bridge there and then, or stay with the group. But I think you're always playing a risky, well, not a risky game, but it's just weighing up what could work. But hats off to the Spanish rider in second place, of course, but hats off to the group there for still plugging away. And it does look like they split up towards the end as it was getting a bit more cagey, but they got very close to catching second place. That was good. Yeah, that was good. Let's have a look at the power graph. Here we go, very spicy towards the end, very spicy. Although saying that, I mean, if you look at it, it was quite, there's a broad range. Look at the power distribution there. There's a lot of distribution in the power. It's not just, you know, obviously a time trial effort. You'd spend a whole lot of time up in that far end and that, you know, your higher wattage, and very little anywhere else at all. But that is very much what you'd see from like a road race, for example, outdoors, or maybe not a crit race, it depends on the course, but certainly a road race. Lots of distribution in various areas, heart rate as well, just all over the place there, lots of time in lots of different zones. So it's a very mixed bag workout, I suppose you'd call it. Or it is a race, of course, but obviously it's a workout, isn't it, at the end of the day. But and of course the colour on the screen, like, it's a great representation of a lot and lot of varying intensities. So yeah, that was just trying to pick apart some of the more notable bits. I mean, the earlier part of the race, there lots of red as we were hitting, you know, those climbs fairly fresh, and I think we were trying to maybe see if we can get an early breakaway going. And then obviously I think this year, this grey section right here, this would have been where the attack from the Spanish rider went. And then the second rider followed. I think it was Williams, was it, that followed? And then there was a big lull. And I thought, this is where we need to get the group going, and we did. And there's a lot of time here spent at sort of that moderate intensity, you know, where you're chipping in, you're helping with the workload to keep the speed up of the group. But it's not too, you know, I think that's the important bit. Like, I think don't panic, you know, in that situation where you get a group together and you want to work. Like, I think keeping people controlled and saying like, don't hit the climbs too hard. We don't want that varied distribution of like really hard intensity. We want like people sort of rolling through at what they can manage to do without going too deep, so that they're then having to suffer. It's not a team time trial. Team time trial is like everyone sort of knows their limitations, and everyone knows, who can pull the hardest and who can. Whereas in this, because the course is not flat, you've got to be really mindful about, if you feel like you're one of the weaker riders of the group, communicate that. But I know a lot of people won't believe you most of the time. But I think just not doing such big hard turns, but using the group to, use the numbers in the group to keep it rolling, really, which is, I think, what we did really well. So I don't really spend a lot of time there, or any length, like continuous length of time at a high power. But even if you look at heart rate, it's very flowy, up and down, peaks at around 150 every now and again, and then it starts to get a little bit harder here, and then obviously we take a little breather. There's a bit of blue and grey there after a fair chunk of tempo threshold, if you will, and then we just go. Well, this actually didn't work, did it? It came back together. I said it didn't work. I mean, it broke the group up, but didn't really. That's not what I expected to happen. I thought that may have been the one and only one I'd have to do to get away on my own, or with one or two. But it turns out the group were onto it, and they were. I think the group rode really well. I've said this already. I think they raced really well to obviously be cohesive, and then still stay together a little bit and push on towards the end and get really close to second place. I think they reacted to that first attack that I thought would work there, and then I think the second one, just because it came on the climb, just meant that I was able to maybe get that gap, and it was the second half of the climb where it happened. You can see right here, we're going red, and it was also coming out the tunnel. That's an important bit to talk about. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Sorry, I missed that. And that's a really interesting part there, actually. Just before I shoot off, it was where we were coming out of the tunnel, and I'd sort of I was pulling hard for a while. I wanted to keep that group going in the tunnel, and then the elastic snapped and I was on my own, and then I got to the bottom of the tunnel, and someone was attacking across, and the group managed to bridge back to me as we were coming out of the tunnel onto land again. And then as we were riding along that kind of lead into the short KOM, I realised that if I was to keep the pressure on, it would obviously stop people from resting before we got to the climb. So it would make the climb harder, it would make the climb longer. And that's what this section is right here. So before we go deep red, it's like this reddy orange, tiny bit of green before the bottom of the climb, and then into the red, and then we went very red into like 500, 600 watts, I think it was. My cursor's a little bit off here, but yeah. And then from there, I actually measured the effort over the top of the KOM to not catch first place. I think first place had been out there for such a long time that it was an educated guess that maybe they'd be starting to slow down now. And so rather than just pushing really hard and desperately trying to get across and close it completely, I left the gap hanging about 7 or 8 seconds just to give myself a little bit of recovery, because I knew I could recover at like 5.5 watts per kilo behind without having to close the gap. Like I could match the power, so I could match the time gap. So I could still recover at 5 watts per kilo. Whereas it's also kind of almost testing the water to see if that rider in first is struggling a lot, because if they're not struggling, they may actually like decide to turn it on and go 6 watts per kilo plus. If that happens, I've got to react to it straight away. If it doesn't happen, then I can maintain it until I feel like that's the time to bridge the gap. So the time to bridge it was actually when we got down off the descent and then on the undulating road, and I caught him just on the crest of the before you go down to the cobbles, and that was hit him with momentum and straight over the top with a load of red and straight over the other side, and maintain the gap, keeping the pressure on, because you know, it would have probably given Spanish rider a little bit of rest by allowing, say if I'd got across and then sat there, it's not quite the same as just going straight through. So maybe a couple of you were surprised by that in the stream, but I think it was probably in that scenario the best thing you could do to just go straight past and hope that they can't get on. If they get on, then unfortunately we have to do a little bit of cat and mouse, and that's something that I don't want to do, because cat and mouse involves generally a lot of sprinting, recovering, until somebody, you know, cracks. And at the end of the day as well, they were only, the group behind weren't that far behind. You know, we look at the finishing result, they were only 15 seconds behind second, and I was about 15 seconds ahead of second, so 30 seconds. But you know, if I'd have stayed there with second place or first and second place and we were cat and mouse in, you know, the gap would have been very close. One of us may have had to have started to take up the riding at the end just to prevent the catch, and then by taking up the riding, you know, one of you is sacrificing potentially your finishing sprint. So lots of things to unpack there, but yeah, thanks for sticking around for the debrief. There's still 8 of you here, so I appreciate it. Alright, I am going to wrap up the stream now. So, thanks for watching, y'all. I hope you have a good Sunday. I hope you have a good weekend. And I have another video coming soon. So stay tuned.